Happy New Year, everyone. I hope you all had a good time. I hope you tried your best to have some form of a party. I know what I did. My Christmas holiday and New Year's Eve was pretty wild. I didn't spend it playing garbage. Instead, I spent the time watching a movie about a guy's wife dying, a crime boss kid killing his dog and stealing his car, and then said guy going on a killing spree. Yes, I'm on about John Wick. So the John Wick films have gained a big reputation as one of the best modern action films in cinema at the moment. And I have not seen a single one of them. You see, I'm more into comedy or big fat ass nerd stuff. So purely action based films, especially ones that aren't from the 80s, have never really interested me. But due to the number of recommendations I've received from people that have seen the series that I actually respect, and the genuine charm that its lead actor Keanu Reeves actually has, I really wanted to take a look. And for a Christmas gift, my parents bought me the entire trilogy on Blu-ray, so I've got no excuse now not to watch it. Now, John Wick isn't exactly known for his plot points or anything like that, but it's got a surprising amount of depth to it. Mainly at the start as it's setting up John Wick. Now, normally films like this set up a relationship with a character's wife or child, so that said person even be kidnapped or killed to give the main character motivation. John Wick does an interesting thing by killing the wife before the film even starts. Not by explosions or gangsters or anything, just some unknown illness. Yeah, it's pretty different, I'll give it that. So when we meet John Wick, he's pretty much at his lowest point. His wife's dead, but to kick it to the audience even more, we find out that in that last moment she spent it buying a dog for John to look after called Daisy, so it will help him grieve over her. While the moments with the dog is pretty short, we do see John slowly open up to the dog. We see the man grieve and we feel his pain. Keanu does a pretty good job of getting that point across. During the day, John goes to a gas station and a random guy called Losif, and yes, I will be butchering probably all the names in this film, takes an interest in his car and tries to buy it off him. John obviously tells him no, but that angers the guy. Later that night, Losif and a few of his goons breaks into John's house, beat him up, kill Daisy and steal his car. As Losif tries to pawn off the car, he gets punched by the chop shop owner, who informs Viggo afterwards. Viggo is the mob family boss and Losif's father, and I'm not going to lie, it's a shame I have no idea how to get footage or anything, because the look on his face, the actor's face, when he finds out who his son attacked is bloody brilliant. The general fear you can see across his face is fantastic. John goes to the chop shop and gets Losif's identity and starts to recover his equipment that's locked in his basement. After hilariously beating up Losif, Viggo then reveals who John is, a former badass assassin that was nicknamed Baba Yaga. I think that's how you pronounce it? Don't ask me on that one. Pretty much throughout this is just action throughout the thing, with some light world building towards this weird but interesting world of assassins, which I hope they build upon at some point. John Wick has a lot of awesome stunts, kills and general action, but there were a few things that surprised me about the film. One was that it was surprisingly colourful, not in a cartoonish sort of way or anything, but it just wasn't grey or black for the most part. Which is rather pleasant to see. I like a bit of colour thrown into it. Just don't have to be too much. John did it right, it was just subtle enough to work. Except for the disco scene, but that was just a really good scene altogether. I love that bit. 2, it had a surprisingly good sense of humour from funny kills and dialogue. Now don't get me wrong, it's not a comedy or anything like that, far from it, but the film had a good sense of humour. There's a scene where John was viciously attacked in his hotel, and after beating his attack, he stumbles outside to see an old friend, and they act as if nothing happened. They just have small talk, like, "Oh, hey John, you get attacked? Yeah, a bit of a pisser, ain't you?" That's not quite the dialogue line, but you get the point. I just like it when a film has a good sense of humour. It doesn't have to be a comedy, but a good sense of humour can go a long way. Finally, John Wick had a pretty decent cast involved, from Keanu Reeves himself to Michael, I'm not ever going to attempt to pronounce his last name, from The Girl with the Dragon Tattoo, Alfie Allen, who was part of Game of Thrones, and Adriana Palicki, I believe her name's pronounced, who was on the Orville. And the surprising one out of the lot was Dean Winters, who any fan of American comedy will recognise him as the Vulture from Brooklyn Nine-Nine. I was not expecting to see him in this film, and he was pretty cool in it. But he also had guys like Ian McShane and Willem Dafoe in this film. Funny enough with Dafoe is that it's probably the most casual I've ever seen him in a film. That's not an insult, it fits the character that he was going for, but considering how Keanu and Michael goes, he's very down to earth with this performance. There's no Green Goblin here, I'm afraid. Another is that the film doesn't treat John like he's indestructible. While I know there's 2 other films and possibly a 4th one coming out at some point, John Wick doesn't act like it's going to have any other films. It's not afraid to rough John up, essentially, which makes it cooler when he actually gets victory over everyone. It feels very earned. Overall, I recommend John Wick. It doesn't reinvent the wheel or anything like that, but that's not an issue when the film is so fun. Builds up his characters and not make them a Jesus icon or anything like that, and has a decent sense of humour. Sometimes doing something really damn well is far better than trying to innovate. And yes, I will be looking forward to the future films, which I'll probably upload to this channel as well. Right, bit of a short one I know, but I'm just trying some different stuff out. Hope you all like it, give a like and subscribe if you want to see more content. Goodbye everyone.